Chapter 4 Infection. In the medical bay, Dan focused on drawing Maria's blood, while trying to tune out the deafening alarms. He collected a vial and headed over to a machine to process the sample. As he activated the machine, he heard a thud behind him and turned around to see what caused it. Maria was awake and standing right behind him, holding a bedpan. For a split second, his eyes met Maria's, now filled with a wild, unsettling intent, before she lunged at him and slammed the bedpan into the side of his head. He grabbed his head and went down hard, confused by what happened. He started to get to his feet and she attacked him again, landing a solid blow to the back of his head. He fell to the ground unconscious. A little while after the alarms had ceased, Elara returned to a scene of chaos, with knocked over equipment and Dan sprawled on the floor. She dropped the 2 bottles of water she was carrying and rushed over to check on him. As she reached him, she noticed that Maria was missing. She quickly activated her comm and said, "Captain, we've got a situation in the medical bay. Maria's gone and Dan's down. Looks like he's been attacked. Need immediate assistance." "What do you mean she's gone? I thought she was sedated. And what happened to Dan?" Hesby bellowed through the comm in disbelief. I don't know, Captain," Elara stammered, her voice trembling. "Hang tight, Elara. I'll send Jaxton to you right away," he said in a shocked tone through the comm. Elara gently brushed Dan's hair back, applying bandages to the gash on his forehead and positioning a cushion beneath his bruised head. Tension built up in her as she waited for Jaxton to arrive. She couldn't help but feel like she was in danger. Minutes felt like hours before Jaxton finally burst into the medical bay, his face etched with concern. He rushed over. His gaze bounced between Elara and Dan. "Are you okay?" he asked in a concerned voice. "Yes," Elara said nervously as she and Jaxton lifted Dan's limp body and moved it onto a nearby bed. "Are you good here for now? I'm going to go search for Maria." "Yes, I'm fine, but we don't know what's going on with her. She could be having some kind of psychotic episode due to the abrupt pod disruption, so be ready for anything," Elara warned. Jaxton took a deep breath and said, "Will do." He then headed out of the medical bay to begin searching for Maria. As Jaxton left the medical bay, he activated his comm and said, "Sophia, can you keep an eye out for Maria? She possibly attacked Dan and is loose somewhere in the ship." Sophia's voice came through the comm and said, "Will do. I will let you know right away when I find her." Jaxton continued through the dimly lit corridors, the hum of the ship's engines echoing in his ears, heightening his sense of unease. After a while of searching, Sophia's voice startled Jaxton as it came across the comm and said, "I found her. She's on deck 3 in the cargo bay." "What's she doing in there?" Jaxton asked curiously. "It looks like she is messing with one of the volatile cargo containers. You better get there fast," Sophia said in an urgent tone. With a swift pivot, Jaxton changed his path through the walkway, his boots thudding on the metallic floor as he hurried through the winding corridors towards the cargo bay. A few moments later, Jaxton approached the cargo bay door, when Sophia's voice came across the comm again and said, "She's escaping into the ventilation ducts. Hurry!" Jaxton quickly tried to open the door, but it didn't move. He activated his comm and said, "She locked me out of the room, somehow. Can you override the locking mechanisms?" A mechanical click echoed, followed by a hiss as the door slid open, and Jaxton hustled into the room. Maria had already escaped. Jaxton let out a sigh as he approached the vent opening. A piercing alarm on a container started blaring behind him, approaching the source of the alarm. A cold dread settled in his stomach as he realized that Maria had unstabilized the cargo and it was in danger of exploding. Heart pounding, Jaxton fumbled to activate his comm and said, "Captain, we have a major situation in the cargo bay on deck 3. Maria tampered with a volatile cargo container and unstabilized it. We need a technician sent in here immediately to sort this out." Hesby's voice worriedly boomed through the comm system. "We need to find and stop Maria. I will send a technician there to evaluate what to do about that container. Don't lose your head. We need to keep calm and get things under control." "Yes, sir," Jaxton said, feeling determined.